Happy holidays, my dear friends. This is your weekly astrology horoscope for the very last week of 2022 and the very first day of 2023. I hope you're having a wonderful time and I hope you are preparing for a great 2023. Before we get started, I also want to let you know that right now you can get a personal session with me with a big Christmas discount. Instead of $160, it's just $100. And the other big announcement is that during January, there will be a very special event which is happening for the first time. It's called Astrology, Alchemy, and Transformation. It will be an online event and we will talk about some very deep processes of transformation and how the most important transits and progressions can trigger also the deepest inner transformations and how you can manage this, and there will be many other interesting stuff. So check the links below and I hope you will join us. Now, let's talk about the last week of 2022. The most interesting is that this week Mercury is turning retrograde. Yes, together with Mars, we also have Mercury joining the club. And I find it even more interesting that at the same time when Mercury turns retrograde, it happens on Thursday, but at the same time, Mercury will be in conjunction with Venus. It's happening in Capricorn. And I think that this week can be very important for realizing some stuff related to our relationships, looking at things from a different perspective, reevaluating. And it's possible that in your relationships, there could be some major changes. It's possible that you may meet or remember old partners. It's possible that you may even see people from the past. And most importantly, focus on finding the truth inside of yourself. Realizing your own deepest feelings. I think that's the most important, to be very honest with yourself and to recognize how is it that you really feel, and if possible, try to verbalize this, try to express this, try to be open about your feelings and your thoughts. And of course, Mercury will be retrograde for the upcoming 3 weeks. Part of the time, Mars is still retrograde. The last week of this phase, Mars will be direct. But anyway, what we need to know is that we need to be careful with documents, with details, with communication, with planning. And Mercury will be retrograde in Capricorn, so be especially careful if you need to communicate with authority figures, with some kind of institutions or some kind of structured organizations. And Mercury retrograde is not all bad, as we know. This is also a time when you may restart something, when you can reconsider or find a different perspective. And internally, it can be a very productive time for self-analysis and also for restarting something that you maybe have forgotten about. Special focus again on work, career, business, and responsibilities. Now, let's talk about the daily overview. On Monday, we have the moon in Aquarius, so overall, it can be interesting, dynamic day with some changes. It's okay if you want to change something in your schedule. It's a good day for socializing, for communicating, especially for some kind of group activities. The moon will have a square with Uranus in conjunction with Saturn, so we need to find the balance between stability and changes and doing something different. Excuse me. On Tuesday, things are even more interesting because Venus is having a semi-sextile with Saturn. And this aspect is very good for having some control and balance over our own feelings. And also for some financial decisions, this can be a very good time for negotiations, for taking responsibility about your own emotional state, about your relationships, and maybe even committing to something or making some important decisions. At the same time, the moon is in Pisces on Tuesday, so we can be more intuitive, more sensitive, more compassionate, and even more creative. So this combination with the moon in Pisces and a positive aspect between Venus and Saturn can be wonderful for creative work. We can be inspired and at the same time grounded and productive. On Wednesday, Venus is having a sextile with Neptune, so even more inspiration, even more creativity, and it can be great for relationships, for dating, for again creative work, for paying attention to your emotional state and taking good care actually of yourself and your inner needs, and basically focusing on self-love. This is also a great thing. At the same time, the sun has a semi-square with Saturn, so there could be some kind of delays or something might be postponed, or we may need to be patient. So don't rush things too much. And also keep in mind that Mercury is stationary on Wednesday. So things may not be very fast or even very clear, and overall it's a good time to really relax if possible. Just take your time and just pay attention to your inner states. The moon is in Pisces as well, which supports the same things. So again, relaxing and or doing something that helps you to be more creative, that can work very well on Wednesday. On Thursday, as we already said, Mercury is turning retrograde and at the same time is in conjunction with Venus. So things can be very interesting in terms of relationships, friendship, planning, and there could be lots of focus on this area. Again, you might verbalize or focus more on expressing the way you feel. Also on Thursday, Venus has a minor challenging aspect with Mars, which can bring some potential conflicts or frustrations in the area of relationships mostly, or interactions between men and women, or when it comes to pursuing our desires. We might be more impatient, or we may feel like we want to have this right here, right now. So be aware of this possibility, and also keep in mind that the moon is in Aries. So the chance to want to rush things or to experience something more dynamic, something more intense is really high. Just make sure that you're doing something constructive. So if you need some intensity and something dynamic, it's better to maybe do some exercises or walk or do something meaningful instead of just getting upset or having a fight. Because sometimes subconsciously that's what we do with such energy. We may just initiate a fight because we need some dynamic experience. That's what we can do. On Friday, the sun has a quincunx with Mars and the moon is also in Aries. So we may feel the urge to do something, to be proactive, to maybe even initiate something. And again, the fact that Mercury is retrograde does not mean that everything should be put on hold. Of course, we can do stuff, we can take action. Just keep in mind that you may need to adapt, because the quincunx is an aspect which at the beginning might be actually challenging. So at first things may not work very well. You need to pass through this, and eventually the results might be positive. So some kind of adaptation or flexibility or changing your approach is actually needed on Friday. On Saturday, New Year's Eve, the moon will be in Aries during the first half of the day, so you can still take care of some last minute tasks which you want to finish right before the new year, or do something that energizes you, that makes you feel kind of like more alive. And around noon, the moon will move to Taurus and will be there also, of course, until the end of the day. So we may focus more on comfort, on relaxing, on slowing down. It's a wonderful position for having a lovely dinner and just feeling cozy and comfortable and relaxed and stable and grounded and connected to the material world. So the moon in Taurus is a pretty comfortable position, and I think that this is a good indication for New Year's Eve. Then January the 1st, the very first day of 2023, comes with an intense aspect between Venus and Pluto. They will be in conjunction in Capricorn. So we are starting the year with some passion, with some strong emotions, desires, and feelings. And I highly recommend you actually to really take some time and focus on what are you most passionate about during 2023. You may call this your New Year's resolutions or whatever, writing wishes, desires, but it's really nice to take some time and think about what lightens you up right now. What would you enjoy the most? What would bring you this passion and fulfillment? And keep in mind that sometimes such aspect can make us dramatize or take things very deeply, very seriously. So be mindful also with your relationships. And the sun has a quintile with Neptune. So dreams, fantasies, visions are very welcome. And use this intuition, use those visions or fantasies or dreams to inspire yourself and perhaps to decide something that you would like to have, something you would like to achieve. And for some kind of relaxing or meditative practice, this position is really great. The moon is still in Taurus, so again, pay attention to your comfort, to feeling cozy, to feeling grounded. Have a nice meal, something that will really nurture your body and connect you to the earth, and would be a symbol of the good care that you are doing for yourself, like a gift for yourself and of course the people that you love. So that's how the last week of 2022 looks like and the very first day of 2023. I hope you will have a wonderful time. And again, if you want to be prepared for 2023, if you want to have a clear plan, or if you need some guidance, you can get a personal reading with me with a big Christmas discount. The link is below. And of course, don't forget to join our online retreat, Astrology, Alchemy, and Transformation. It's very, very symbolic. The date is very special, which I have chosen. The topics will be very deep. And if you need this support, understanding, inner guidance, that's exactly the right event for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy holidays, and I will see you very soon.